Sleep, kinsman, thou to death and trance and madness thou hast forget at last a night-long present of the past in which we went through summer France. Hadst thou such credit with the soul, then bring an opiate trebly strong, drug down the blindfold sense of wrong, that so my pleasure may be whole. While now we talk as once we talked, of men and minds, the dust of change, the days that grow to something strange, in walking as of old we walked. Beside the river's wooded reach, the fortress and the mountain ridge, the cataract flashing from the bridge, the breaker breaking on the beach. Risest thou thus, dim dawn again, and haulest issuing out of night, with blasts that blow the poplar white, and lash with storm the streaming pane. Day when my crowned estate begun to pine to that rivers of doom, which sickened every living bloom, and blurred the splendor of the sun. Who usherest in the dolorous hour with thy quick tears that make the rose pool sideways and the daisy close her crimson fringes to the sour. Who mightest have heaved a windless flame up the deep east, or whispering played a chequer walk of beam and shade along the hills, yet looked the same. As wan, as chill, as wild as now, day marked as with some hideous crime, when the dark hand struck down through time and cancelled nature's best, but thou lift as thou mayst thy burthened brows through clouds that drench the morning star, and whirl the ungarnered sea afar, and soar the sky with flying bows. And up thy vault with roaring sound climb thy thick noon disastrous day, touch thy dull coal of joyless grey, and hide thy shame beneath the ground. So many worlds, so much to do, so little done, such things to be. How know I what had need of thee? For thou wert strong as thou wert true. The fame is quenched that I foresaw, the head hath missed an earthly wreath. I curse not nature, no, nor death, for nothing is that errs from law. We pass the path that each man trod, is dim, or will be dim, with weeds. What fame is left for human deeds? In endless age it rests with God. O hollow wrath of dying fame, fade wholly while the soul exults, and self enfolds the large results of force that would have forced a name. As sometimes in a dead man's face, to those that watch it more and more, a likeness hardly seen before comes out to some one of his race. So, dearest, now thy brows are cold, I see thee what thou art, and know thy likeness to the wise below, thy kindred with the great of old. But There is more than I can see, and what I see I leave unsaid, nor speak it, knowing death has made his darkness beautiful with thee. I leave thy praises unexpressed in words that brings myself relief, and by the measure of my grief I leave thy greatness to be guessed. What practice howsoever expert in fitting apt words to things, or voice the richest toned that sings, hath power to give thee as thou wert. I care not in these fading days to raise a cry that lasts not long, and round thee with the breeze of song to stir a little dust of praise. Thy leaf has perished in the green, and while we breathe beneath the sun, the world which credits what is done is cold to all that might have been. So here shall silence guard thy fame, but somewhere out of human view, whatever thy hands are set to do is wrought with tumult of acclaim. I leave thy praises unexpressed in verse that brings myself relief, and by the measure of my grief I leave thy greatness to be guessed. What practice howsoever expert in fitting aptest words to things, or voice the richest tone that sings, hath power to give thee as thou wert. I care not in these fading days to raise a cry that lasts not long, and round thee with the breeze of song to stir a little dust of praise. Thy leaf has perished in the grain, and while we breathe beneath the sun, the world which credits what is done is cold to all the might have been. So here shall silence guard thy flame, but somewhere out of human view, whatever thy hands are set to do is wrought with tumult of acclaim. Take wings of fancy and ascend, and in a moment set thy face where all the starry heavens of space and serpent to a needle's end. Take wings of foresight, lighten through the secular abyss to come, and lo, thy deepest lays are dumb before the mouldering of a yew. And if the matin sings that woke the darkness of our planet last, thine own shall wither in the vast ere half the lifetime of an oak. Ere these have clothed their branchy bowers with 50 Mays, thy songs are vain, and what are they when these remain, the ruined cells of hollow towers? What hope is here for modern rhyme to him who turns a musing eye on songs and deeds and lives that lie foreshortened in the tract of time? These mortal lullabies of pain may bind a book, may line a box, may serve to curl a maiden's locks, or when 1,000 moons shall wane. A man upon a stall may find, and passing turn the page that tells a grief then changed to something else, sung by a long forgotten mind. But what of that? My darkened ways shall ring with music all the same. To breathe my loss is more than fame, to utter love more sweet than praise. Again at Christmas did we weave the holy round the Christmas hearth. The silent snow possessed the earth, and calmly fell our Christmas Eve. The Yule log sparkled keen with frost, no wing of wind the risen swept, but over all things brooding slept the quiet sense of something lost. As in the winters left behind, again our ancient games had place, the mimic pictures breathing grace, and dance and song, and woodman blind, who showed a token of distress, no single tear, no mark of pain. O sorrow, then can sorrow wane? O grief, can grief be changed to less? O last regret, regret can die, no, mixed with all this mystic frame. Her deep relations are the same, but with long use her tears are dry. More than my brothers are to me, let this not vex thee, noble heart. I know thee of what force thou art to hold the costless love in fee. But thou and I are one in kind, as moulded like in nature's mint, and hill and wood and field did print the same sweet forms in either mind. For us the same cold streamlet curled through all his eddying coves, the same all winds that roam the twilight came in whispers of the beauteous world. At one dear knee we proffered vows, one lesson from one book we learned, ere childhood's flaken ringlet turned to black and brown on kindred brows. And so my wealth resembles thine, but he was rich where I was poor, and he supplied my want the more, as his unlikeness fitted mine. If any vague desire should rise, that holy death ere Arthur died had moved me kindly from his side, and dropped dust on tearless eyes. Then fancy shapes as fancy can the grief my loss in him had wrought, a grief as deep as life or thought, but stayed in peace with God and man. I make a picture in the brain, I hear the sentence that he speaks. He bears the burden of the weeks, but turns his burden into gain. His credit thus shall set me free, an influence rich to soothe and save. Unused example from the grave, reach out dead hands to comfort me.